not liking the organization, they got to fix that. They got to fix that because they have all the pieces to win.
And the other part of that narrative, to overuse that overused phrase, is that there, to me, was clearly a racial undertone to that, because the dissatisfaction by Houston and Barry seemed to be combined with the fact that while Houston was trying to get a big fat contract, a bunch of offensive linemen, Caucasian offensive linemen, were getting extensions. And I think that was part of it too. I absolutely think it was part of it, and maybe that was the message also that he was getting from the Justin Houstons of the world.
Yeah, I'm not privy to how things work in there, but I find it hard to believe, and Pete pointed this out, that an organization that was one of the first and most extensive.
It's one of the reasons I actually like the Chiefs, and I live 1,500 miles away.
Yeah, was that they were in the
super progressive.
Yes, super progressive, and you know, the first middle linebacker. They didn't used to let African American players play middle linebacker, the quarterback position of the defense, because you couldn't do it. And Willie Lanier was the middle linebacker for this team. And the Kansas City Chiefs were the first team to have more African American players than white players on it. First franchise to do that.
Absolutely. But, you know, that was a long time ago. I'm just talking about I'm just talking about the message that he might have been getting from other players.
Yeah.
That's all I was saying.
That's what I'm saying. They got to fix that.
But what the Chiefs did back in the day was basically the reason I won $200 on the Chiefs' only Super Bowl championship, including one at 10-1 straight up, is that I watched those teams play all year, and the Chiefs were a 2-touchdown underdog, and I said, my God, the Vikings have all these slow white guys out there, and the Chiefs have all these really good players. They're better. They're gonna win. And I was like, sure, they were gonna win. Now I was in seventh grade, but but anyway, maybe it was 8th grade. But anyway,
you had people laying 10-1 to 7th graders.
Yeah, one guy he never paid. It's a very funny story.
So you didn't win $200.
Well, I won it, but I couldn't collect it.
Okay.
I did win the other.
I did win the other 50.
When you're 13. He got so tired of me placing bets with the point spread and spouting off that, hey, I don't even need the points. They're going to win the game. He said, all right, I'll give you 10-1 straight up. And I'm like, fine, dude. And then his mother had to call me, and Jimmy could not pay that kind of money. I even had a big friend that I tried to strong-arm him with. Still didn't work.
You know, you just you think you're a decent guy, and then you get to know you, Danny.
Yep.
It just keeps getting worse and worse.
That's why it's unleashed. There's a hysterical story to this, I will tell you during the commercial.
Okay. We will take a break. We'll come back and talk about whether or not the Chiefs can actually be carrying 3 $100+ million players on the same roster currently in the NFL. The salary cap is going up. Is it possible? We'll talk about that. With Danny Klingsky, I also want to get into some Royals baseball. You know, they're pitching, Danny. The Royals are pitching. That's one of the things that's going on now. We'll get into that.
They've done just about everything well since the All-Star break.
They have. And Bubba Starling is a star.
Now that we can have an interesting discussion about.
And I know that pains you.
No, it does not pain me at all.
We'll take a break. More Danny Unleashed next here in the program.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, you know, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is Where Integrity Matters. Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Bubba Starling, second Royal ever to reach base in each of his first 10 Major League games.
What are the odds we're going to talk about Bubba Starling?
Yeah. Probably are.
Who's the other? Reach
first
base.
10 games.
First 10 Major League games. Bubba Starling and this guy, the only two Royals ever to do it.
This is
guy
just a
eventually
joke
did
because
12.
he made me laugh the other day when I was listening to the Red Sox game, and somebody reached first base and they said, and he's talking over there with first base coach Carlos Fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm Carlos Fabulous.
Dos Carlos. That went two different directions.
I'll try Beltran. Damon.
Johnny Damon.
Johnny Damon.
Damon reached base his first 12 Major League games, a little bit shy of the Major League record set by Alvin Davis of the Mariners in 1984, who reached base 47 consecutive games to start his Major League
Is that
career.
good?
He was a good player.
By the way, one of the 5 guys that did 25 straight, second baseman or middle infielder for the 61 KCAs. Shortstop.
Second baseman, shortstop.
Campaneris.
Oh, you're shortstop. I thought you
Shortstop.
said second
Sorry,
baseman.
shortstop. 61 A's.
So it wasn't Campaneris?
Get to it.
How about Dick Hauser?
Oh,
wow. Okay.
Good one.
That's good. I like it. Do they need to be giving Chris Jones $100 million, or did they decide, listen, we're going to have a $100 million player, and when they didn't get anywhere with Chris Jones, they said, all right, we're going to make the trade for Frank Clark, and that's our guy. Chris Jones will play it out one more year, and we'll wave goodbye.
You know, I get the sense since he reported on time that maybe there was some discussion that he found at least a little bit encouraging.
Well, there's a report out there that says that the Chiefs shut down all negotiations when he began holding out, and that they would not negotiate until he got back. I think that was by one of the guys who dyes his hair.
That really narrows it down.
Who's the guy? The rap sheet?
Ian Rappaport.
Ian Rappaport.
Yeah. Bob Glauber calls it jokingly. They're friends. He goes, how's the crap sheet going? So that's I always think of that first. No, but he said that the Chiefs said, well, we're not going to negotiate. You're going to hold out, then that's it.
I think Chris Jones is a tough call. I'll say that. He's, happy-go-lucky football players seem like more of risks for whatever reason.
Really?
Because football is so, because teams like players that.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I actually, as you were saying that, I thought you were going to say are more likely to be, Ted Hendricks, and I'm thinking of like all the happy-go-lucky guys I think about.
Well, Ted Hendricks was just crazy.
Yeah.
But I think Ted Hendricks was like the Mad Stork, wasn't that his nickname?
Yeah.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
He loved him some football. He was just nuts. I think Chris Jones.
He was goofy. He'd wear masks and wear hats.
True. Chris Jones doesn't strike me as, how football coaches love players who just are all about football. Boy, he lives, breathes, and drinks football. He's all football. We love football. Football. Chris Jones doesn't strike me as that.
I hear you, I can see because of the higher pitched voice and the fun he has with the media, getting that vibe.
And I'm not saying,
but he is not D Ford.
No,
D Ford was that
or
guy.
Chris Conley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
guys who seem to have real other interests. Don't football is something they do well, but there seems to be to me a little bit of that in Chris Jones too.
What else does he do?
No, that he.
It's something he does because he's good at it.
He did football because he was good at it.
Yeah, but I disagree. I think he is football, and I think it's just his delivery and his affable nature.
I can go
leads you to think that this is a more well-rounded guy than the Neanderthal mindset I'm used to. When in reality, some of the guys that you look at and go, "That's football Neanderthal guy," is actually probably a more well-rounded guy. He just plays the part. Hides in the back, doesn't talk to anybody.
That's
Justin
true.
Houston may be the most diverse human being that I've ever seen. I can't say that I've met because I haven't, because he hides in the back, and on game day I'm not out of the stadium.
But if you wanted
anymore.
to work with my theory, how much football did he play once he got his money?
Houston?
Yeah.
Oh, he's heard a lot. Yeah, he's heard a lot.
And would you say there was every indication that he was like completely crazed to come back on the football field?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying Justin Houston is the guy that looks like he's playing the role of a villain.
Right.
Justin Houston always reminded me of the Duke in Escape from New York. Did you ever see Escape from New York?
I did.
You're the Duke. You're A number one. Right? Okay. So he had a similar look to the guy who played the villain, the Duke.
Right.
in Escape from New York. And there wasn't a lot of smiles. He wasn't ever happy, seemingly.
Right.
He was a brooding, tough guy, which we love. That's what we want our go crush the quarterback,
right.
Destroy him. That's what we want.
It's just difficult to know the motivation of football players, and
right.
so you just are trying to take little superficial
So
things.
I'm
not saying I'm right.
Right. That's why I'm saying Justin Houston fits the role of what we in our head think of as the great football player.
And then he didn't play that much football.
Yeah, but I think he was legitimately hurt.
I do too, and also he didn't have much faith in the medical staff. He didn't have much faith in the Chiefs.
Oh, I would agree.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Except for the Chiefs medical staff didn't do his knee.
Right.
He went on his own.
Right.
And had the knee done. So he has no rub there. That's one of the other things that I always found kind of odd. It's like you went and did your own medical thing, and it was a disaster. It was a 2-year disaster. And he's another one that, to me, strikes me as ought to be suing Andrews.
Yeah, maybe he didn't like.
Because aren't there 2 or 3 guys that are suing James Andrews
maybe
right now?
Maybe he didn't like the. A lot of players don't like the vibe that's put out by the team regarding their potential return.
I get it.
There's a lot of things that are.
I get it, but I mean, being mad at the Chiefs medical staff, he had no reason to be, because he went and did all his own stuff.
Right.
And the Chiefs tiptoed.
How old is Dr. Frank Andrews now, by the way?
He's like 80-something.
Oh, yeah.
It's James Andrews.
James Andrews. Does he still do his own surgeries, or is he just head of a group or something?
He got into some heat recently.
He's 76.
Yeah, he got into some heat, as I understand it. You might look lawsuit or something, James Andrews lawsuit. I thought he got sued by some people. But I know every Chief that went down there came back. It was like what? Adrian Peterson's back in 4 months. The Chiefs, it's like, well, this is his first year being healthy. It was 2.5 years ago he had the surgery. Why does it take 2.5 years for everybody the Chiefs send down there? And Adrian Peterson gets hurt in the playoffs, and he's ready to go the first day of training camp.
Sharif Floyd, $180 million lawsuit against him.
Okay, I knew it.
It always reminds me of the famous George.
Doesn't mean that. Did he win? Or
this came out November 16th, November 6th of last year. I'm sure it's going to be
probably ongoing.
It always reminds me of the one of my favorite of millions, George Carlin line. Somewhere in the world, there's the worst doctor.
You know what they call him?
Someone's seeing him.
You know what they call him? Doctor. You know what they call that's what the joke is. You know what they call the guy who graduated last in his class from medical school?
Doctor.
Doctor.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Right. All right, so can you carry $200 million defenders? To me, this is them going right back down the road that they were just on
before, yeah.
with so much of their cap tied up in 2 guys. Now, listen, if you wanted to say, yeah, but it can't go that wrong this time. Okay, the odds actually are in your favor that they won't both be nearly as hurt as Eric Berry and Justin Houston were under those contracts. But
maybe here's exactly what the Chiefs would like to see happen. They don't do anything with Chris Jones. He plays this year like a house of fire. They win the Super Bowl. He walks away, and they don't care because they just won the Super Bowl.
Well, he won't walk away. They'll put a franchise tag on him, and they'll trade him the same way the Seahawks did.
Or at least he'll end up playing somewhere else. So I
just want to be clear.
I think there's some of that. I mean, the Chiefs certainly, they have every right to think that they can win the Super Bowl. I mean, they had a horrendous defense, and they came within an offside call
of being there.
At least.
Yeah.
But it is a fascinating season. I wrote about this the other day in a blog at DannyKlinkscale.com. Just got to get one in here.
Subtle.
Before I have a little sand timer. If I don't say it before.
Ernie Harwell.
Yeah. So the Chiefs are in the strangest position this year. They haven't made the Super Bowl in 50 years. And this season's Super Bowl or bust. I mean, it absolutely is.
I disagree.
The only possible thing is ravaging injury. Well, Mahomes goes down, or they lose a game like the Saints in the AFC Championship game. I absolutely think that, and we can.
And then what are you going to do next year when they don't win the Super Bowl this year?
Well, I mean, it's not like they're going to shut down the franchise, but I mean, it's going to be anything but making the Super Bowl is going to be a gigantic letdown.
If they lose the AFC Championship game in New England,
Well, first of all, they're not supposed to do that because they're supposed to be good enough that they won't.
But that's my point. But this season, you don't know how it's going to unfold.
Undoubtedly.
I think the Chiefs are going to win multiple Super Bowls with Patrick Mahomes. And I think one of them will definitely come as the one seed and two home games and then winning as a favorite in the Super Bowl. But I also think one will come in a year that they battle in